Judge Martin Nolan strikes again. Man who assaulted 16-year-old girl on Ryanair flight handed suspended sentence. A man who assaulted a 16-year-old girl on a Ryanair flight from Manchester has been handed a suspended sentence. Tariq Al-Akhtar, 61, with an address at Hunters Lane, Ashbourne, County Meath, was arrested after he disembarked from a plane in Dublin Airport. He was highly intoxicated, and passengers described him as drinking from the neck of a litre bottle of whiskey during a 45-minute flight. Al-Akhtar pleaded guilty at Dublin Circuit Criminal Court to one count of assault on the Ryanair flight on the 2nd of May 2022. At a hearing today, Judge Martin Nolan said Al-Akhtar did not deserve to go to prison and handed him a full suspended sentence of 18 months. Garda Daniel Black told Michael Oregon BL, defending that the teenage girl had travelled to Manchester the previous week on a short trip to visit family and friends. Her father had booked her tickets and checked her on the flight, and the girl was due to return on the 29th of April. However, she decided to stay a few days longer and booked her return flight for the day in question. The teenager, who made a statement to Gardaí after she arrived in Dublin Airport, said she had boarded the flight in Manchester shortly before 8 p.m. and taken her seat in the middle of a row. She said a man in his 40s sat down in the aisle seat next to her and spoke to her continually during the flight using profanities. The man was drinking from a litre bottle of Jameson's and grabbed her hand with force several times. The girl said Al-Akhtar hit her a few times on the upper left arm and took her hand several times and kissed it. The teenager said he was drunk and was too scared to get up and move, so she tried to get through the flight. At one point, Al-Akhtar rubbed his hand near her breast area and she moved away and turned to face the window. She said Al-Akhtar was still being a pest when the plane landed as they were taxiing in towards the terminal. He tried to pull her in for a kiss a few times and she kept pushing him away. She managed to get the attention of a woman in another seat and signaled for her to press the button to call cabin crew, but nobody came. A male passenger in another row asked if the girl was okay, and she replied, "No, this man keeps touching me." The other passenger told Al-Akhtar to back off and leave the girl alone, but he had got very angry and stood up. Cabin crew arrived, and the teenager said she had told Al-Akhtar she was 16 and that he replied, "I don't give an F." She said Al-Akhtar had punched her twice hard on the shoulder and had asked if she had a boyfriend. Al-Akhtar was arrested on arrival but was highly intoxicated and not fit for an interview until the following morning. Garda Black agreed with counsel for the defence that Al-Akhtar was a completely different person the following morning and was very apologetic. He told Gardaí he deserved his punishment and that he was really sorry. Al-Akhtar has one previous conviction for assault causing harm dating back to 1999. Counsel said the accused had written a letter of apology to court and brought the sum of €3,000 as a concrete expression of his remorse. The court had heard that the teenager who did not file a victim impact statement is ready to move on with her life. Al-Akhtar has not come to Garda attention since the offence and is married with 3 young children. He is a Libyan national and has been living in Ireland for over 40 years. Judge Nolan said if the injured party does not wish to accept the money, it should be transferred to a charity of her choice. The judge said the victim has been unlucky to happen upon Al-Akhtar and had put up with 45 minutes of hassle, during which she was punched and grabbed near her breast. Judge Nolan said Al-Akhtar was unlikely to reoffend and addressed him saying, "My advice to you is not to drink. It seems you get into trouble." So there you have it, guys. Judge Martin Nolan strikes again. The lenient judge, the judge that gives sentences to offenders, hairy apists, very lenient sentence to these people. Let's talk about the mitigating factors. And actually, before we do that, this is the top of Google search. I just typed in Martin Nolan gives lenient sentences, right? That's all I put in. Never specified who he gives lenient sentences to. And the first thing that comes up, it's not even a clickable link. It actually tells you. Google is telling you this. So it must be bad if Google's telling you this. Examples of supposedly lenient sentences include suspended sentence for a man who was caught whacking off. I'm going to use that word, but they use a different word here. Whacking off in front of 4 children. Give a suspended sentence to a man who got his lanyard out and whacked off the 4 children watching. Now, does that not warrant a couple of years in prison? What message are we sending out to the world, especially to the people that are coming here? So you have to understand this, right? I'll start it off with this. We'll talk about the lenient sentence after. So imagine you come from a country where women have no rights. Like a lot of the boys that come over here, women don't have any rights where they come from. It's all under Sharia. You know, Harry Apin's okay. Child marriage is deemed okay in these countries. Marrying, I just watched the video yesterday where they were marrying off 6-year-olds. It was absolutely disgusting. And people are advocating for that type of law to come into Ireland and England. Don't say they're not, because they are. Because they've came out and they've said that if there is a majority of them, they will vote that in. And what message are we sending to those people? So, for instance, if they read articles, just say they're looking up where they're coming, say Ireland, right? They're coming to Ireland. They go, right, let's see what the justice system is like. And then they see Martin Nolan giving suspended sentences to Harry Apists, the child preds, and things like that. They're going to go, well, this is great, because we can go over there and just do as we please. And then on the local level with the native people, if you have people that are that way inclined, Harry Apis, child preds, you know, just dirty people in society, they're going to go, well, this is great because I can get away with it. So why is he not putting a stamp down on this? Why is he not making an example out of child preds and Harry Apists and people like that? That's very, very worrying. Now, possible reason for it. Let's go into the mitigating factors into what we've just read. So, number one, this isn't a mitigating factor. Let's go through what he done. He sat down beside a child who was 16. She's 16 years, well, she's older now. This was in 2022, but she's 16 years of age, right? And that's a child, the age of consent, 17. So that's a child. He attacked a child. He sexually assaulted a child on a Ryanair plane. He harassed her. Nobody came to help her because she was probably so embarrassed, and she was probably frightened. She didn't know this. Why was there a drunk man or a man that was drinking whiskey sat beside a woman that he didn't know on a plane? So Ryanair needs to take responsibility for that 100%. They're a disgrace anyway, but they need to take responsibility for that. Number two, he attacked a child. He sexually assaulted a child on a plane. And, I don't care. People are going to say, well, she was 16. It doesn't matter if she was 25. He sexually assaulted a woman or he sexually assaulted a child. In this case, he sexually assaulted a child, right? So there should be a no mitigating factor for that. Now, let's go down to the bottom of the article. The reason why Judge Nolan gave him a suspended sentence, 18-month suspended sentence, is because he came to the court apologetic with €3,000. So he was able, the way he's seen this, if I show up to court with €3,000, I'm basically bringing the fine to the court already. So he fined himself. He came to the Judge Nolan and he said, look, this is the fine. This is the amount of money I'm willing to give. Now, what Judge Nolan should have really done, he should have said, well, I don't like the fact that you've came here with money. I like the fact that you're taking responsibility for your actions, but I don't like the fact that you've basically fined yourself and you have given yourself the number of which you should pay the victim. So what I'm going to do is, because I find that a little bit arrogant. If I was a judge, I would find that arrogant, somebody showing up with €3,000 for a sexual assault on a child. I'm going to quadruple that number and you have to pay that. Whether that be in installments or all out in one now. Because if you're willing to come here with €3,000, then I'm willing to quadruple that. Because what you done to that child on the plane is absolutely disgusting. She was a minor. Doesn't matter if she was a minor, but she was a minor. You harassed her, you got drunk, you sexually assaulted her, you touched her, people had to intervene. And while we're here, I'm going to bring Ryanair to court, because why was there a young girl allowed to be sat beside a drunk man so he could harass her? And whenever she called for help, nobody came. So Ryanair needs to get into this courtroom so then we can hold them at a higher standard. So for me personally, I would have said to him, we're going to take that €3,000. If he isn't going to quadruple it, we're going to take that €3,000 and you're going to do 18 months in prison. Not suspended. You're doing 18 months in prison minimum. None of this half shit where you do you good behavior. You're doing 18 months in prison minimum. That's and then you'll be up for review whether you can get out or not. Because there's no way you're going to come to Ireland. There's no way. You've been living in Ireland for 40 years, so you know the laws, and you sexually harassed a child on a plane. And that would make a stamp on society. And people coming into Ireland thinking, I'm not going to go over there and mess about, because that Judge Nolan seems like a bit of he's very heavy handed, because he's demanding law and order. The mitigating factors is him showing up to court with €3,000. The mitigating factors is him showing up apologetic. The mitigating factors is him realizing the next day that he was drunk and he attacked the child. He sexually attacked the child. But what is Judge Nolan having? Why is he having remorse on these Preds for? I don't care. And think about it this way: this guy's got a wife and 3 young kids. So when they say 3 young kids, there's not, just say his kids are 8. There's not much off from 8 to 16. Do you know what I mean? So it's like this man, even when drunk, we've all been drunk. I've been pissed out of my mind on a plane. And never once did I think to myself, I'm going to sexually harass anybody on that plane, never mind a child. That's your true side coming out of you. If you're willing to do that with a bit of drink in you, that's the true side coming out in you. So what I would do is further, I would say, well, his kids need safeguarded. We need to look into his kids. His kids need to be interviewed, because if he's able to do that to a child on a plane after her telling him that she's 16, him with 3 kids, those kids need to be safeguarded, because what's happening to those kids? Was this the real him coming out? Was this the real person coming out because it was drinking, not drinking wits out, it was drinking real person out? I've been pissed. I've been absolutely stocious on planes. Never once did I ever think to myself, I'm going to do that to anybody, never mind a child. So Judge Martin Nolan isn't taking the bigger picture at hand here. Yes, what he's doing is he's looking at that and he's giving him the most lenient sentence that he can give him, which in turn is making us think that Judge Martin Nolan is a wrong'un. But what he's trying to do, that's the political class, the upper class, thinking that they know better when they're not doing the right thing. We need a staunch judge who's going to say, well, hold on here. This guy attacked a child on a plane. He sexually attacked her, tried to grab her breast, was kissing her hand. She didn't like it. She's a child. And even if she did like it, she's a child. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a stamp here. We're going to take it. He showed up to court with €3,000. We're going to take that €3,000. Thank you very much. We're going to quadruple that and still give you an 18-month sentence minimum. That's how you win the support of the people, because then people are going to go, our children are being protected. But looking at Judge Martin Nolan's back history, giving suspended sentences for people that have whacked off in front of 4 children watching. I've seen another one there too. There's loads of cases where he's just give people suspended sentences. So yeah, do you know what I mean? What he's done is he's took that guy's mitigating factors and they have outweighed his sexual assault against the 16-year-old girl. And where was the prosecution here? To be really staunch on this. They didn't care. It wasn't a big case to them. They just, they got paid and then they leave. Where was the prosecution in here I'm sure her father's raging. See if that was me. See if that was me. I don't know how I would react to that. And it's not so much. Even if you had a conversation with the guy, right, and he said to you, "Look, I was drunk. I apologize, and I shouldn't have done it." The anger isn't so much directed at him. It's directed at the judge and at the justice system because they're sending out a message to sex offenders that, listen, we don't take this serious. We do not take this serious. But at the same time, a person who's got a drug addiction, who's caught with drugs, would get a heavier sentence, and maybe it's not that person's fault. All to do with the open door policies with fentanyl allowed in with the open door policies of Ireland. They're criminalising people and putting people in jail that shouldn't go to jail, that maybe have mental health issues, because of Ireland's open door policy and allowing heavy drug gangs to operate in Ireland. And then on the other side of things, they are allowing sex offenders to get off on things because they deemed it not that bad, which is making the public think that these judges are that way inclined too. Did he give him the most lenient sentence because Judge Martin Nolan has sympathy on him, because Judge Martin Nolan relates to that guy? That's what the public is thinking here. I'm not saying that's true, but that's what the public is thinking here. Crazy times, people. That's what I have for you today. Thank you very much for tuning in. Remember to smash that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a comment in the comment section and tell me what you think. And make sure to share too, guys. Share. Thanks to all the shares that I get. And if you want to go follow me on the free speech platforms, use the links in the description and the comment section, along with my Buy Me a Coffee link. Thanks to everybody that's bought me a coffee. I appreciate that. You can find that link in the description and comment section also. That's it, guys. Have a good Friday. Thank you very much for tuning in. Peace.